Good morning, and thank you for taking the time to be here today. Fresh Squeeze is a quick reminder that you can do the hard things with your money and a few quick tips on how to get started. Today's theme is money in an election year. My name is Kelly Reddy-Heffner, and although there is no one-size-fits-all solution to your finances, you can start somewhere to work towards your goals. I'm a financial planner and financial therapist, and I am happy you are here. Election years can cause some trepidation about what finances might look like. So we cannot guarantee what will happen, but I wanted to give some insights on this topic to hopefully give you an idea of what has happened in the past. So the first we'll talk about is investments. And it is one of the more common topics and concerns during an election year. TIAA looked at a moderate risk portfolio with 60% stock and 40% bonds across all presidential election years since 1928. 4 of those years had negative returns. Those years corresponded with other big things happening in the United States at that time. So the 4 down years were 1932, 1940, 2000, and 2008. And those correlated with the Great Depression, World War II, the implosion of the tech bubble, and the financial crisis of 2008, the housing crisis. TIAA found that a 60-40 portfolio had an average annual return of 8.7% across 24 presidential election years since 1928. And that average was slightly above 8.5%, same portfolio asset allocation mix during all non-election years over the same period. To also give some insight from another resource, Vanguard as well looked at research from 1860 and found no statistical relationship between the performance of that same 60-40 asset allocation in a presidential election year versus a non-election year. They quoted, "Markets efficiently price in current events. It's difficult to predict volatility or blame it on one specific cause because there's a dozen of factors." One last insight, Fidelity, when they looked at the same type of question, made a comment that particularly when looking at developed markets with strong institutions in an independent central bank such as the US, you typically don't see a lot of election impact. Those economic cycles are more relevant to emerging market economies. On another topic, taxes, using a source from taxfoundation.org, taxes are a big topic and concern as well during an election year. Just to give a quick rundown, and again, this is from another source from that Tax Foundation, but under a Harris administration, there are campaign promises to look at expanding the child tax credit, to expanding the earned income tax credit for filers who do not claim children, expanding premium tax credits, and expanding housing tax credits, including the low-income housing tax credit, credit for new home buyers, and credit for the construction of homes. There is discussion of a clawback deduction for depreciation and interest for certain rental construction investment. In terms of other individual income taxes, no real mention of the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act and whether that would remain or would change under the Harris administration. Under a Trump administration, there has been discussion from the vice presidential candidate Vance about expanding the child tax credit as well. Under a Trump administration, there is talk of continuing and making the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act permanent. There is also discussion of taxing large private university endowments, and otherwise there is some talk of some tariffs to help replace personal income taxes. To give an idea about student loans, because this is a hot topic for some clients as well, there are currently a lot of student loan things up in the air, which can be very challenging for borrowers. Sometimes the not knowing is worse than knowing something even not considered ideal for the student loans. It is speculated, and this is from a source from Earnest, which is a common private student loan lender. Their take is that if Democrats win the White House, it is likely that Harris would try to continue efforts towards student loan forgiveness, building on policies that have been started over the last couple years. There has been some challenges, though, to some of the save, plan, and forgiveness strategies. So really, Congress and the ability for both parties to work together would have an impact on both administrations and what they want to do. If a Republican wins the White House, it is speculated that the Trump campaign and Republicans would likely continue to have less of a focus on student loan forgiveness. There are already Republicans that have filed legal challenges to the SAVE plan, so that would be speculated to continue and forgiveness efforts to be less likely. In terms of interest and inflation in general, the Federal Reserve is anticipated to lower interest rates in mid-September, but to be honest, that has been speculated for a good portion of the year now, and rates have not changed up to this point. But resources again saying that the rate may go down in mid-September when the Federal Reserve meets. In terms of inflation looks like it is continuing to go down. Based on current inflation forecasts, average consumer price inflation should be 3.2% to round out 2024, and 1.9% is speculated in 2025. Just to give you a comparison, it was 4.06 in 2023, 9.59 in 2022. All of this just to give some factual data about what election years look like, and to be honest, the fresh slice, the key takeaway is that although election years can result in a number of changes in terms of our government and functionality, overall the impact on our money is maybe not quite as dramatic as we might think that it is. So have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope that you have a great week.